Hello and welcome back to the David67 Celtic News YouTube channel. Today's video going to be a post-match review reaction to Celtic's 2-2 draw against Aberdeen yesterday afternoon. It was an exciting game, a game that had absolutely everything. Goals, wee bit of controversy, disallowed goals, VAR interventions, lots and lots of shots, lots and lots of blocks and saves. And in the end, Aberdeen took their chances. Celtic missed a heck of a lot of chances. Aberdeen's goalkeeper made a lot of saves. The defenders from Aberdeen made a lot of blocks. And Celtic weren't very clinical. And for me, it comes down to a 15, 20, 25-minute period just after half-time where Aberdeen made changes and Brendan Rodgers and the players didn't respond well to those until it got into the period after Aberdeen had their third goal disallowed. That seemed to kickstart Celtic back into the game, and Celtic for the last 20 minutes of normal time and 12 minutes of added time were massively on top, but one way or another, Aberdeen kept the score to 2-2. Keep Celtic top of the table. We're well ahead of Aberdeen on goal difference, and I think sooner or later Celtic will be widening that gap over Aberdeen and our big rivals Rangers in second and third. So in today's video, we're going to have a wee look at the goals, we look at some of the incidents, stats for the game, and also my player ratings for the 11 starters and the 4 subs yesterday's game. Before we do crack on with that, the video itself, please, if you are new to the channel, not yet subscribed, and you like the channel, like the video, like the general content of the channel, which does have a great variety of videos, do please click that subscriber button, keep the numbers pushing nearer and nearer 1,100. If you like the video, please do click that like button as well. It does help with YouTube spreading the videos, spreading the channel to more and more Celtic fans and football fans. And do pop your thoughts, pleasant, polite, constructive, debating points, opinions, thoughts into the comment section regarding yesterday's game, who played well, who didn't play well, what your own ratings would have been. For me, Celtic blew a good first half performance with a poor 20 minutes or so at the start of the second half when Aberdeen very much got themselves back into the game, went much more attacking. We didn't respond. Brendan Rodgers seemed to be just sitting back watching what was happening rather than marshalling the troops on the sideline, getting players like McGregor, Hatate, Johnston, Trusty, Scales, Schmeichel to reorganise things. Celtic seemed a bit clueless. Were outmanned, outfought, outrun for that 20-minute period. And in the other, in the first half, Aberdeen didn't really have terribly many threats on Celtic's goal. After the Duke goal was disallowed for handball, which was a correct decision. After that point, Celtic got back into top gear. However, yet again, Mitov in Aberdeen's goal replicated his performance last year in one of the Celtic St Johnstone matches and made some miraculous saves. Aberdeen's defenders blocked an awful lot of shots, and Celtic missed an awful lot of good chances. So I thought Celtic started the game really nicely. Aberdeen not terribly much of a threat in the first half. Our midfield three, Engels, McGregor and Hatate, all had very good first halves, especially Rio Hatate. He showed great energy to get into the box. There was a lovely ball down from his own half by Arnie Engels, releasing Kyogo into tons of space. Brilliant run by Kyogo, lovely cross into the box, and a very nice finish by Rio Hatate. Second goal, again, nicely into the box. Rio Hatate had a shot blocked, rebounded nicely for Kyogo, who slotted the ball away. So 27 minutes into the game, Celtic 2-0 up. Could have added another goal or two in that first half, and I think had we done so, the game would have been done and dusted. However, Aberdeen did change things around, took off the ineffectual Nisbet and Clarkson, and brought on Duke and Sockler, and it was a wee bit like watching some of the Celtic Aberdeen games last year when Miovski exploited the lack of pace from Liam Scales. Sockler this time running onto a brilliant ball by McGrath. Scales really lacking for pace. Sockler gave him a few yards of a start, but easily outpaced him, got himself free, and then put the ball past Kasper Schmeichel very nicely. Then poor pass by Dyson Murray, who I thought had quite a poor game all around. Um, Aberdeen flooded forward. Celtic were very slow to get the midfield back to support the defence. Aberdeen outmanned, outnumbered Celtic in the box. Um, Ball broke to Shinnie, and his shot, which I think was actually going to be saved fairly easily by Kasper Schmeichel, rebounded off Austin Trusty, sending Schmeichel the wrong way, and the ball looped into the goal, 2-2, and then Aberdeen kept up the pressure to give them credit. Ball into the box, headed down, rebounded off Duke's hand into the goal. Also, Johnson immediately appealed for the handball. To be fair to the referee, I don't think he really would have had a terribly good view of it in a rather crowded, busy box. Happily, VAR did spot the handball. Goal was correctly chalked off. Celtic huffed and puffed. We brought on 4 subs. I think all 4 subs didn't really add very much to the game. James Forrest missed several good chances. Adam Ida missed a couple of good chances. Didn't think Paolo Bernardo or Luke McCown did terribly much in a creative way. Subs didn't really change Celtic's fortunes yesterday, and as I said, Forrest and Ida did pass up quite a number of chances. Some brilliant defence and blocking by Aberdeen, some brilliant saves by Mitov, particularly that last second save from a point blank header. But there were several other very good saves in the game. A couple of wee bits of controversy towards the end of the game. Alistair Johnson, for me, does back into Mitov, knocks Mitov over into the goal. Adam Ida scores with the header. I think it, to be fair, should be disallowed. Luke McCowan was a few centimetres outside the box, so it's not a penalty kick. Also thought that McCowan slightly faked it by diving into the box to try and con the referee into the penalty to give a penalty. I think had he given a penalty, VAR would have overruled it and turned it into a free kick just outside the box. Final bit of controversy was the block on the line by Duke of the Johnson shot with what was the last kick of the ball. Very difficult to tell from the various camera angles that I saw on Sports Scene recap of the game, highlights programme. I think, in essence, the person with the best view of whether it was or it wasn't a handball was the assistant referee, who was bang in line with it. Celtic did turn to the assistant referee, who didn't put his flag up. So I'm willing to accept that it wasn't a handball, although the movement of Duke's body and knee and leg and arm, etc., all was very suggestive of a handball. But I suspect that VAR couldn't find the right angle to confirm that it was a penalty kick, and so the referee's decision stands. I think it's probably one of these ones, if there was a camera right on the goal line to give a freeze frame of the contact, it probably, possibly, maybe would have given Celtic a last second penalty. But no crying over spilt milk. The referee didn't have a good enough view of it. VAR couldn't find an angle to say yes or no. The assistant referee, who does have the best view on the pitch in this circumstance, didn't flag, and so I think in the end, no penalty probably is a perfectly reasonable decision. I think Celtic were the better team all around. We had more than enough chances to win the game, but for a very poor 15-20 minutes spell after half time, Aberdeen weren't really in the game as a threat. However, they did do a tremendous job defending, tremendous job stifling Celtic's chances, and in the end, 2-2. Does take us forward. No apparent injuries from the game. Just going to have a wee look now at the stats. Celtic had 73% of the possession to 27, 32 shots to Celtic, 8 to Aberdeen. We had 7 shots on target. They had 4, so they had half their shots on target. We had about 20% of our shots on target. We had 11 off targets to their 1 off target. 14 shots were blocked by Aberdeen players. 3 shots were blocked by us to stop them from scoring. Touches in the box, 48 to us, 12 to them. Saves, Kasper Schmeichel made 1 save in the game. Dimitar Mitov in their goal made 5 saves. And a remarkable 19 corners for Celtic, 2 to Aberdeen. I think overall it shows that Aberdeen didn't have as much of the ball by any means. They did get 8 shots, of which half were on target, 2 were scored, and didn't get into Celtic's box terribly often, but when they did, they very much made it tell by scoring 2 goals. 48 times we had a touch in their box, only twice did we score. We had 11 off targets and 14 shots blocked, and the 5 saves, so very much shows Celtic wasted a lot of chances. Aberdeen defended and saved balls with the goalkeeper and the defenders really well, and we just didn't get our scoring boots on, and corners, which have been quite a strong feature for us. This time, the corners didn't quite reach their target, or when they did, the Aberdeen defence defended well, and the goalkeeper made some nice saves from corners as well. I think Brendan Rodgers took his eye off the ball for 15-20 minutes. He should really have changed the formation, changed the way that we were defending, got the midfield and coming back more to support the defence, to nullify Aberdeen bringing on 2 strikers. Aberdeen in that 15-20 minutes at the start of the half went to a 4-3-3 and even a 4-2-4, and Celtic got a bit flooded, a bit outnumbered, and the midfield didn't come back to join up with defence. I think Rodgers takes a large part of the blame for that. To an extent, also players such as Schmeichel and Callum McGregor. However, I really wish I'd seen Brendan Rodgers out there screaming and shouting and getting things reorganised. I do wish I'd seen McGregor and Schmeichel screaming and shouting and getting things reorganised. I think Celtic for that 15-20 minutes, a wee bit similar to some of the spells against Borussia Dortmund, looked like they hadn't really got themselves set up, looked like they weren't adapting to what the opposition were doing, and were hoping that their standard way of playing was going to do the job. And to be fair, it probably should have done had Forrest and Ida taken their chances coming on as subs, or had Aberdeen not defended so well to prevent Celtic scoring. In terms of player ratings, I gave Kasper Schmeichel 6.5. Don't think he had terribly much chance with either of the 2 goals that went in, nor did he really have very much a chance with Duke's handball goal. Given 6.5 for Austin Trusty and Liam Scales. Liam Scales for me was very badly caught out for the Sockler goal, poor position in the first place, lack of pace, lack of ability to get back, and so 6.5 for him. Although, to be fair, he did rush back very well to block a later chance. Austin Trusty, I thought he had a fine game. He isn't Cameron Carter-Vickers. I think he's going to take another few weeks to fully blend into Celtic's team. But for me, once Carter-Vickers hopefully is fit to play, I would be inclined to swap Austin Trusty for Liam Scales, although I suspect that Rodgers will remain loyal to Liam Scales. I've given 7 to Alistair Johnston and 7 to Alex Valley. I thought Valley had a good defensive game, wasn't so much of a threat in the final third. Alistair Johnston was the usual self. I don't think he made any real mistakes. I don't think he had much chance to help out with either of the 2 goals. He nearly scored with the last kick of the ball. I thought he got himself more involved, especially in that last 20 minutes of normal time and 12 minutes of added time. So 7 for him. Given 7.5 and man of the match to Rio Hatate, based mostly on his first half performance. He was brought off in the second half and subbed off. I do wonder whether, in retrospect, it might have been better to keep him on and take off Engels, who very much in the second half faded away, as did Callum McGregor for me. He didn't really get himself involved in remarshalling things at the start of the half to respond to Aberdeen's changes. Didn't really take a commanding role to change things around, and he wasn't much of a threat for me getting forward or creating or scoring chances. So 6.5 for both Engels and McGregor. 6.5 I've given for Nicholas Kuhn. For me, didn't do nearly enough in the attacking third, didn't do nearly enough in terms of creation. I thought, disappointingly, Forrest and Maeda and Kuhn didn't get themselves into the box enough at the back post. As there were a few times that we had that extra player at the back post, we would have had a relatively easy tap in. Given 7 for Kyogo, he didn't actually have terribly much to do in the first half. However, he scored 1 goal and set up the other. And I do wonder, had it been Kyogo having the chances that Forrest and Ida had in the second half, whether he actually would have put away 2 or 3 of those chances that Forrest and Ida missed and wasted. 6th for Daizen Maeda, I thought was a very, very poor game from him. I do wonder whether there was a degree of fatigue and jet lag for Trusty and Hatate and Maeda, with them having long trips back from international matches and only just getting back Wednesday, Thursday. And I've given 6 for all 4 subs, 6 for Forrest, 6 for Ida, 6 for McCowan, 6 for Paolo Bernardo. Don't think they really did very much positive to help Celtic, having come on as subs. Now, you may well have your own thoughts regarding the player ratings. You may well feel that some players played better than I've assessed them. In essence, these are my subjective opinions. There's no real objective way of analysing these things. I did think Rio Hatate had a really good first half, got himself in the box lots and lots. Second half, we didn't do nearly enough with that, and we didn't overload Aberdeen enough. We all got rather frantic and chaotic towards the end, and we did miss a heck of a lot of chances in that last 20 minutes of normal time and the 12 minutes, as it proved, of added time. So onwards and upwards to the next match, which is our away game against Atalanta. That will be on Wednesday. Apologies, in my Saturday preview video, I did say, unfortunately, that Celtic's next game was going to be on Tuesday. Just for clarification, I misread the numbers. I got my sums wrong, and Celtic's game's on Wednesday, not Tuesday. Which of course does give Cameron Carter-Vickers an extra day of training, an extra day of physio to get himself fully fit for the game against Atalanta. Hopefully that does improve Celtic's defence. Hopefully Brendan Rodgers rejigs the lineup, rejigs the formation and the tactics, and we play a tighter, more defensive, controlling game and use our attacking players with lots of pace to hit them on the counter-attack and the breakaway, and get our midfielders, Hatate, Engels, McGregor, up to support the front three, to take some chances and also create some dead ball situations, which hopefully this time we exploit, which we didn't do against Aberdeen. Just to finish off, please, if you aren't yet subscribed to the channel, please do consider clicking that subscribe button. Like the video, please do click that like button and comment section. As always, open for pleasant, polite debating points, thoughts, opinions, comments on the game, the ratings, the stats, and the game and Celtic's performance. So until the next video, a goodbye and hail, hail.